The big question is, what real difference does Christ's one sacrifice make? What real difference does Christ's one sacrifice truly make in the grand story of people and our own lives? This isn't just a tough puzzle for thinkers. It's a question right at the heart of what Christians believe. To dig into this question, let's look at Hebrews chapter 9, verses 16 through 28. This part of the Bible will be our main guide, giving us a clear explanation. The writer of Hebrews compares the old ways with the new reality that Christ brought. This section helps us understand why his sacrifice was perfect and enough, and why it changes everything for those who believe. To really get how amazing and new Christ's sacrifice was, we first need to understand the world it came to change. The writer of the letter to the Hebrews paints a clear picture of the old agreement, the deal God made with Israel at Mount Sinai. This system was all about a constant, repeating cycle of rituals meant to deal with sin and keep people connected to a holy God. At the heart of this system was the act of sacrifice. Most of the time, this meant spilling animal blood. As Hebrews 9:22 plainly tells us, without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness. This rule was a clear sign of a deep truth. Sin leads to death, and making things right needs a life to be given. All of Israel's religious life was built on this idea. These sacrifices, though, had their limits. They had to be offered again and again, every day, every month, every year on the great Day of Atonement. The high priest would go into the most holy place with the blood of animals for himself and for the people. But this had to be done every year because its effects didn't last forever. It was a constant reminder of sin, not a final answer. The blood of bulls and goats cleaned people in a religious way, but it didn't change their hearts or take away the stain of sin for good. The writer of Hebrews introduces a brilliant and easy-to-understand comparison to explain the change in covenants. He compares God's covenant to a will. The death of the person who made the will must be confirmed. A will only becomes valid after the person who wrote it has passed away. Death makes the inheritance active, so the covenant is put into effect by a death. Moses took the blood of calves and goats, sprinkled it on the book and on the people, declaring, "This is the blood of the covenant." A solemn ceremony, life poured out, confirms the agreement. Almost everything under the law was made clean by blood, copies of heavenly things. If the first covenant needed the blood of animals, how much more did the new covenant need a greater death? It promises a greater inheritance, eternal rescue, a clean conscience, and a way to reach God. The death of an animal was no longer enough. A new and perfect will required a new and perfect death to bring its amazing promises to life. The argument really gets to its main point here. The old way of doing things meant going into an earthly holy place every year with animal blood. But Jesus did something similar, yet way better. He didn't go into a holy place made by people, which was just a copy of the real one. Instead, he went right into heaven itself to stand before God for us. He left the shadows behind for the real thing. He didn't bring the blood of a goat or a calf. He offered himself, the heart of this special, one-time event, his own perfect life. His sacrifice doesn't need to be done again. He appeared once and for all to do away with sin by sacrificing himself. Doing things over and over showed weakness. Doing it once shows amazing power. At the end of time, a really important moment in human history, he gave his perfect life, once and for all, to deal with sin completely. This one-of-a-kind, irreplaceable sacrifice has some really big impacts. It totally changes how we, as worshippers, connect with God. Before, there was this constant feeling of guilt, like a job that was never quite finished. Our standing with God was always conditional, always depending on the next ritual. But Christ broke that cycle. His actions have lasting effects. Sin is dealt with at its very core. Forgiveness becomes a new permanent state. With just one offering, he made those who are set apart perfect forever. Our standing with God isn't based on how well we perform anymore. We have direct access now. The curtain is torn. We can confidently enter because of Jesus' blood. No more endless repetition, just lasting permanence. A trusting relationship with God is now possible. It is appointed for people to die once, and after that comes judgment. An unavoidable path. Life, death, judgment, ultimate responsibility, a deep feeling of concern. So Christ, having been offered once to carry the sins of many, will appear a second time, not to deal with sin, but to save those who are eagerly waiting for him. The judgment against us has been taken on, its power used up. The future is no longer about judgment, but about the completion of salvation. Unshakable hope, death, then salvation for those who are in Christ. These truths aren't just ideas, they actually change our lives. They give us a calm feeling inside, even when we mess up. Many people live with a fear that they'll never be good enough. It's a cycle of trying hard and then feeling let down. Understanding that the sacrifice was final breaks this cycle. Our forgiveness was made sure by a perfect offering. We don't have to earn being accepted anymore. We can go to God with trust, not with fear. The great forgiveness we received becomes the forgiveness we give to others. Father, forgive them becomes how we live and what drives us. It means letting go of grudges, refusing to be bitter, and working to bring people together. The old way of doing things is replaced by a solution that's one of a kind and lasts forever. What difference does this one-time sacrifice make? It makes all the difference in the world.